Oh, mate, how's it going?
Good, how you going?
Pretty good, thanks.
That's the way.
Yeah, it's a good time.
It's always exciting when we click that go button and wait to see who
Let's
joins.
see if anybody signs up to have a look.
Does that mean we need to share it?
Yeah, probably do, eh?
Tell some friends. Who's going to be first?
Tell all your friends.
Tell all your friends.
Tell at least 3 of them. And then if you tell 3 of your friends, and each of them tell 3 of their friends.
We're up to 9 people.
We're up to 9 people. Your computer says nobody.
We were up to be 9 people. If you tell 3 and they tell 3.
No.
Yeah.
Because then you got the original 3. You'd be on 12 plus the 2 of us. Makes the 14.
Tell 3 people.
You tell 3 people, you've already got 5.
Oh, yeah.
And then each of those 3 people tell 3 more people. That's another 9.
Yeah.
That's 14, man.
Yeah, bro.
It's exponential.
Holy shit.
Mm.
Well, it's growing quite rapidly, so you better tell your friends and
Apparently
hurry
there's 4
up.
people.
Yeah.
The computer's not saying that. What's going on there?
This one right here, this says 4 people.
Yeah, right there.
4 people.
What's going on, guys?
How are you? Who is it? Why aren't they popping up in the comments?
That's what I was meaning. Yeah.
Say hello. We don't know who you are.
It's not seeming to connect properly today.
Oh, they're coming.
Oh, shoot.
Maybe something changed.
But it's mine.
Ooh. Yep, now we should be. Is anybody out there? What's the weather like today, mate?
Oh, I don't really care, to be
You
honest.
don't really care. No need to chat about weather.
Hang on. So, can we do that again? Cut.
Do I ask the question?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
How's the weather today, mate?
It doesn't matter how the weather is today, mate.
Okay,
Because that doesn't affect my day. I have a good day every day.
that's wonderful news.
Yeah. Doesn't matter if it's sunny or rainy or fucking hot or
Did
cold.
you say it doesn't matter if it's Sunday?
I didn't, but it doesn't matter if it's Sunday. That's another good point.
That is, well,
It doesn't matter what day of the week it is, mate. You just have a day.
that's right.
And just make sure it's a good one.
It's Sunday and we're excited to be here.
Fuck oath. I really wish I knew who I was talking to, though. That's always good fun.
Yeah,
What's going on here?
waiting for people to pop up. No, they usually just pop up in the
They
comments.
do, don't they? Yeah. What's that do?
Maybe if we say something.
Maybe if we say something.
We're trying to nut out some technical difficulties.
I don't know what's going on here. Where's your mouse going? Oh, shit. All sorts of chaos.
Battery flopped out, mate.
All sorts of chaos. Back.
This is embarrassing. Nah, not embarrassing.
Not really.
It's all good. There we go. All right, let's do some stuff. Hey!
Hey, we're good. We're in business. All right.
Look at them all.
All right.
Wonderful to be here, people.
Excellent.
Hi, Chalky and Sweeney and Shana.
And the other 4 people that
Yeah, the other 4
people. Yet.
Good to see you.
How's it all
today.
going? Everyone having a good day? I'm having a good day.
Are you having a good day? You let me know. I'm having a good day.
Well, I think we should just get straight into business, mate. What do you
Yeah,
reckon?
but yeah. Well,
First things first, we've got a big announcement to make.
we've got a name for our live stream. Did.
We had lots of excellent responses to our posts, so thanks everyone for having a vote and having a say. We really want this to be a bit of a community effort, so yeah, we really appreciate everybody's feedback and input there. It was a close call. We had a lot of votes going a lot of different ways, but the winner by a narrow margin was the raw truth. So I think that's what we're going to call this thing, the raw truth number 7. Beware the poison. What's the poison, Wally?
What is the poison? Well, the poison, something we've been talking about over the last couple of days, is the mindset that gets in your head that is negative, and it starts to control what you do.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about, poison running through your blood, same thing where the poison running through your mind, and that negativity is just closing off all of the positively functioning, pieces of your brain. So, starts
right.
cutting out happy thoughts and all those sorts of things. So,
And obviously that can be to varying degrees. Like
Yep.
you've got sort of the more extreme end of the spectrum, like severe depression and things like that. But even just like on a smaller scale, you just like a little bits of self-doubt or just like a negative thought that pops into your head about something that then affects how you're feeling or what you're doing or how you interact with the next person that you see, whatever it might be.
Well, if you're thinking about a chemical, of a poison entering into a system, it can like flood the system, where it can, like a snake bite that's going to kill you,
concentrations, I
versus
guess.
like an an ant bite that just like stings. So
For sure,
you
for
know.
sure. But yeah, it's all doing a similar thing on various scales.
Yeah. So how do we come to talk about this today, mate?
Well, there's a couple of things going on, but one of the main things, I had a conversation with Wally the other day on the phone because I was feeling a bit sort of down in the dumps, I suppose you could say. Not because my life's not going well or anything like that. It was just more, I guess, I was feeling a little isolated in my life at the moment. I've certainly spent a lot of time and effort pushing towards this album and doing the recording and doing all the behind the scenes work and everything. And because of that, I haven't been actively social. I haven't been getting out of the house a lot and seeing lots of people. So I was starting to feel a little isolated and a little, I guess, lonely and those sorts of things. So I gave Wally a call and was just like, hey man, this is like how I'm feeling and it's not real great and I don't really know what to do about it, to be honest. You know, I could just bury myself in more work and just keep pushing and sort of bury the feeling. But that doesn't really, like, I mean, it works for the short term, but it's going to pop up again, I suppose. But yeah, like it's obviously not a healthy way to deal with stuff going forward. And so part of our conversation was about how it was the issue, part of the issue there was my mindset and the way I'm looking at things. I'm letting that emotion, that loneliness, that isolation feeling sort of overwhelm me rather than sort of letting it be a feeling that's just a feeling,
right?
An emotion.
Yep.
Certainly one of my other mates that I speak to regularly, he does meditation, and one of the things they teach you through meditation is that you can have feelings, whether they be good or bad or indifferent, it doesn't matter, but they're feelings and they don't have to consume your whole body, even the good ones. You can just be like, oh, okay, I'm noticing that it's like, I guess meditation is all about self-awareness and sort of disconnecting yourself with your own psyche, I suppose.
Right.
So, I mean, meditation teaches you that through a series of complex things, but the general takeaway is that you can feel emotions, good or bad, and just feel them and not let them overwhelm your whole body and your actions and your thoughts for the day. And part of that is based around this idea of you know, you sort of, when you're feeling something, you become self-aware because you sort of disconnect with yourself a little bit and just look at it from almost like a third person perspective. And you just sort of say like, oh, okay, I'm feeling happy today, or I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling lonely, or whatever it might be. And you go, okay, like that's a valid feeling. There's nothing wrong with feeling that way. There's like, do I need to do anything about it though? Not necessarily. You can just feel that and be like, okay, that's something that I'm feeling, and then move on with your day, and continue doing whatever it is you're supposed to do, or whatever you want to do, or whatever. You don't have to necessarily drop everything to attend to that feeling, which is what I was doing the other day. I was feeling lonely, and it was kind of overwhelming me a lot, and I was like, oh, like I don't want to do anything right now except for attend to that loneliness. Like I need to talk to someone, I need to get out of the house and go be social or whatever. And it's, in a sense, that emotion was then getting to the point where it was going to control the rest of my day.
Right. So you're doing something and then had feelings and emotions, and then that caused a disruption, and therefore you thought you'd just go and tend to that thing. So maybe you could have been busier doing more productive things, but instead you decided that maybe you need to go and do something that wasn't as productive.
It's not so much about productivity, but more just a case of like, I felt like I was dropping everything that I wanted to do for the day or whatever, just to attend to like dealing with that feeling.
Right.
Which I don't think necessarily is a good way to live. Certainly not the way that I want to live, because if you're feeling angry about something, you don't want that anger to like then consume you for the rest of the day, and you'd be frustrated or angry while you're doing everything else, and while you might have you might be catching up with a friend, or you might be, I don't know, going on a date, or like having a business meeting, or fucking anything, and you're taking that anger into that situation.
Right.
Or vice versa, it works the other way too. Like if you're happy and you're having a good time, it's like you let that control everything, which is not necessarily a bad thing if it's a good emotion, but I guess it's the process of learning how to separate yourself from the emotion so that it doesn't, not that you bury it. This is where I guess this is a delicate act of balance here, because I'm not trying to say like don't feel things and just bury your emotions and be like that. macho tough guy kind of thing. Like that's not what this is about.
Right.
It's about feeling your emotions, but not letting them overwhelm you to the point where they affect everything you're doing or your whole day.
Right.
And that's the tricky part of meditation. But
right.
Yeah.
So we're getting pretty deep here to start off with.
Yeah, definitely just like jump straight in the deep end this morning, guys.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I appreciate the sentiment there, Josh. I did see something about Josh had his appendix issue. He was in the hospital.
Yeah, right.
The other week. So I'm glad to see that you're up and bouncing back, Josh, and still kicking. It's good to see, man.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're going to start talking about, things overtaking your mindset and not letting them push you off the course.
So yeah, one of those things
Right.
can be emotions that are affecting your mindset.
Okay.
And then there's obviously a whole bunch of other things that can affect your mindset, like your environment or the people that you hang out with, or any number of things. But emotions was the thing that was controlling my mindset the other day.
Okay. So what we need to learn to do is to take control, or to build a shield.
It's more just about being self-aware
Awareness.
to the point of like, this thing is taking over my brain right now.
Okay.
I need to like attend to that, whether that means stop it, whether it means over control it, whatever it means. It depends on what it is that's controlling your mindset.
Okay. And how do we learn about those things?
How do we learn about those things?
Yes.
How to combat that mindset thing?
Yes.
Well, there's any number of ways you can do it. I mean, there's certainly a whole bunch of books and podcasts and videos and stuff out there from people that teach you how to develop a positive mindset.
Right.
And also people that talk about how they battle their negative mindsets.
Okay.
Which I think are two different things as well. It's not a case of by having a positive mindset all the time, like you won't be susceptible to negative mindsets.
Okay.
I think just thinking positively on a daily basis is great, but at the same time, like it doesn't guarantee that negative things won't affect you.
True.
So you need to be able to develop a positive mindset on a regular basis, but also have the strength and the ability to battle the negative mindset when it turns up.
Okay.
So like, how do we deal with that? Like, as I said, there's a whole bunch of books and podcasts and all sorts of stuff.
So what have you been doing to evolve from where you were the other day?
Certainly one of the things that I've noticed is helping me is I do yoga, which is I guess in some sense it's a form of meditation.
Right.
And that helps me disconnect with my emotions but reconnect with them as well.
Okay.
Like I was saying before, by being self-aware, you can say like, hey, I'm feeling this way. And I can see that and I can feel it and exist within that space, but without having let it overtake my whole body. You know what I mean? So yoga helps with that, as would meditation. I don't do specific meditation, but I'd imagine that would help immensely.
Okay.
But the other thing that I'm doing is reading a lot.
Okay.
And I find that some of the things that I've been reading have been helping me develop that positive mindset and also some tools to battle the negatives.
Okay.
So I guess like I'm doing a lot of talking right now, but this is my story, I suppose. But one of the things that I've been reading a lot of lately, which is really helping me, and I've been reading this book for a few months now. I'm not quite all the way through it. I think I'm about just over halfway through it. But it's really helping my brain and my life and just everything is Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. Try and get out of the reflection there. So this book is written by a psychologist?
Yeah, psychologist.
Yes.
Yeah. Clinical
psychologist, behavioral psychologist.
That's the one.
And he's written a book that's it's 5 years old or something now. It's not brand new.
No, maybe only
But,
1 or 2 years.
I'm sure it's older than that.
Maybe.
But the book is just basically it's like got 12 chapters each with like a separate like rule for how to live your life. But what it is it's a book of how to develop yourself, how to work on you as a person. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
There you go.
Very new.
It's a book on how to develop yourself as a person, to be stronger mentally, emotionally, spiritually. How to be a better person for you, not for the world, not for like, it's not about, follow these rules to exist within society like a better human for everyone else. It's about how to take control of your own life and make it what you want it to be.
Okay.
Certainly, like I think you've read the book.
I've already read it. Yeah, I read it. I got it for Christmas. So yeah, I was there. I started learning about Jordan Peterson last year, and obviously, like I said, the book came out maybe early last year. So when you're watching podcasts or interviews when he's getting people are talking to him, it can be quite interesting. And all these people are talking about the book and listening to book reviews.
There's no shortage of stuff of his online.
Oh, God, no.
On YouTube and he's got podcasts on Spotify and things like
that.
Yeah.
Well, he does podcasts, but then every person interviews him. He's very confidently outspoken about his opinions, but everything he talks about is research. And so he talks about gay marriage, and he talks about women's rights and these sorts of things. And so he gets a lot of grillings from particular people, and he just absolutely destroys them. He's so good.
He's very outspoken on a lot of things, and whether or not you agree with him is, it's up for debate or whatever, but his stuff is based on clinical research.
Yeah.
And I think that's where there's a lot of controversial stuff on the internet where he'll be in interviews with TV people or radio people or whatever, and they're sort of asking him these provocative questions, and he gives an answer which is based on his research, and then they start flipping out, having, oh, but you can't say this, and that doesn't affect this, and whatever.
Yeah.
But I think the problem with a lot of those interviews and why he seems to do so well is because his stuff's based on research, and the people that he's talking to might have read 2 sentences out of his book or just got a little snippet of a quote, and that's all they have knowledge on, and then everything else is opinion based. And
That's
it comes from in their emotions and like, oh, I disagree with this thing because this, and he's like, well, these are the facts.
That's right.
And they're like, oh, but you can't say that. It's like, but these are the facts.
That's right. Well, I was watching almost a montage yesterday of him like destroying different people, and they basically have one where it was like talking about women getting, maybe if we brought women up in a society where they can be encouraged to be engineers. This was a particular example. He's saying, the research suggests that men like to work on things and women like to work with people. So
on a generalization.
Yeah, but the research shows that women will tend towards helping people where men will tend to work towards objects. And they were saying, this lady's like, oh, but if I brought my daughter up, in a confident way, then maybe she would be equally as likely to be an engineer. And he's like, well, the research just suggests that women are more likely to grow up and want to help other people. So therefore, they're more likely to become a nurse. And they were just arguing, but all he's saying is just quoting, the research which he's done. But the lady just wants to be able to, tell her daughter that she can do anything she wants, which she
true.
can.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, he's like, well, you can go and do that, but research would show that
statistically the majority don't do that.
So it's pretty funny because all these people get so worked up over their opinions, but his opinions are based entirely on the research. And some people would ask him questions and go, how can you think that? And he goes, well, it's just what the research suggests. I'm not standing here trying to be an asshole or anything. I'm just restating the facts.
That's right,
which you don't yet know, and that's why you think I'm picking on you, but all I'm doing is telling the truth.
That's fair.
So
but anyway, the book, more on the mindset sort of thing. The book has really been really helpful in the sense that it's given me a few things to work on myself. It's in a sense, going through that book is like a journey into your own psyche and your own history and your own psychology. By reading through the book, I've found that I'm like digging deeper inside my own self, finding some problems, finding some things that I want to work on.
Okay.
But also finding some good stuff. Like I'm not saying like everything's an issue.
Okay.
By reading the book, I'm like, oh, actually, like I've got that thing pretty sorted. I'm good in that department, whatever it might be. But it's been a real like journey into myself to develop myself, I guess. Yeah. Which you have to, if you want to improve your life and yourself, you've got to take a good look at where things are, and like to really just be like, okay, this is where I'm at, this is what I'm doing, this is who I am, and this is where I want to be, and then how do I get there? Like,
so you're basically trying to identify the things that we need to work on,
that I need to work on as myself, and that's the thing, and I guess that's part of like why that isolation has been creeping up onto me, because I'm doing so much self-development, I guess, so much internalizing of like, where am I at, who am I, what am I doing, all that sort of stuff, that like I feel like that has disconnected me from the outside world a lot.
Okay.
Because I'm looking so much into myself.
Right.
And I know that's like, it's a temporary sort of thing. It's a phase in a sense of like, I can do that and then I can come back out to the world of like
bigger and better.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. But certainly like the mindset gets to you in the meantime.
Okay. So what do you do? Have you learned anything to do to combat against those negative thoughts
flowing in?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I found is just that, like, taking 5 minutes to just, I guess it's almost like meditation. You just take 5 minutes out when you're feeling something and it's overwhelming you. Just stop what you're doing, just sit there, feel it, think about it, let it overwhelm you for a few minutes, and then just sort of let it go at the same time. Like, it's really hard to explain.
Can you simplify that?
Like, it's hard to explain how to do it. You know what I mean? But definitely just like meditation in a sense, in any sense, I found really helps.
Well, meditation is not the physical act of doing something. It's more of just, you know, taking your body and your mind apart and like seeing what's happening from an outer perspective, isn't it? Yeah,
I guess so. Yeah.
So any sort of looking at yourself from a different perspective, you know, an outer position.
That's right. And like the other day when I was having that conversation with you, I realized by having the conversation with you actually helped a lot, because you were able to look at me objectively from the outside and say,
that's the word. Yeah.
Well, this is where you're at. You know, this is what's happening. So
for sure,
that helped. But also then after the phone call that we had, I found I did that to myself a bit. I was like, okay, I'm feeling this way, but does it affect anything? Not particularly.
Right.
Is it going to change my life? Not really. Do I need to do anything about this right now? Not really.
Okay.
And then, like, that was a nighttime, and then I went to sleep, and the next day I woke up and I was fine and I was back on track.
Right.
I think a lot of the time we let emotions like overtake us in the moment, but then the next day or in an hour or fucking 5 minutes time, like, it's not going to matter anymore.
Okay.
Like that emotion becomes the thing that was there before, but it's not there anymore. So the key is to like understand that it's only temporary.
Okay.
And you can just, in a sense, a lot of the time you can write it out.
All right. So on that note, maybe we should ask the people, you know, if there's anything they sort of struggle with,
for sure,
and if they got any techniques, you know, that they use to combat, whether it's confidence or self-doubt or, you know, comparison towards other people, like, oh, that person's doing better than me, my life sucks. You know, obviously just burying yourself under those thoughts is not very good option to do.
No, I mean, we had that conversation about social media on a few live streams ago, about how social media makes it so easy for you to compare your life to the highlights of someone. You're comparing your whole life, all the negatives and positives, with somebody's highlight package.
Yeah.
You know, that's not really a good way to exist.
How good social media for highlights packages, eh? You know?
That's what social media is. It's a highlights package.
Well, you want to put your best self out there.
Well, some people don't. Some people go for the opposite end of the spectrum, and they're looking for sympathy, or they're looking for whatever it might be, you know, like people, the point is it's filtered. It's not somebody's whole balanced life.
Yeah.
So you comparing yourself to anything that you see online is just dangerous. But
okay.
Like, obviously we've had that conversation, so I don't want to repeat it too much. But have you guys had like any self struggles? I mean, I'm obviously opening myself up a lot here today, but you guys had any struggles with self-doubt or confidence or things like that? I mean, I'm sure we all have, but it's how do you deal with it? Do you find anything that works, or are you struggling and you don't know what works and you're still battling against it? I don't know.
Well, one thing that I've, you know,
there's no judgment here, guys, for sure.
No. So. One thing I've seen of myself lately is if I go into a bit of a slump, I need to take a step back and then look at a broader spectrum. And I've been saying the same thing to my other half. Sometimes we get so caught up at looking at days as individual things, but, you know, obviously our life is made up of absolutely everything that's happened to us in the past, you know, and that's helped to shape who we are.
Yep.
So if something's gone wrong today or during the week or whatever, you know, you sort of focus on that and say, like, the generalization of my whole life falling apart or something drastic happening. But take a look back, and if you take a measure on, you know, 2 weeks or a month or 6 months or even longer, like a 12-month period, you can sit there and say, like, oh, this is actually, you know, it's actually trending in the right direction. You know, if you look at the stock market or something, of course it goes up and down, but over a 12-month period, like, oh, we've doubled our money. And maybe your life development like that, if you sit back and look at things, you know.
Not always, though. Some people have had like a really,
for sure, it could be
a long period of
but you can see,
times,
you know, don't just generalize on a short period.
No, that's the thing we were talking about.
Emotions.
Mindset is like, don't let that like negative feeling of today affect everything. It's like it can just be in the moment.
Oh yeah, for sure.
One thing that definitely myself and a few of my mates talk about on the regular basis is this little quote that I can't remember where it came from, to be honest, but it's basically, the quote is, you're not having a bad day, you're having a bad moment.
Right.
And if you repeat that to yourself when you're having a bad moment, you realize, like, my whole day doesn't suck. Just this one thing sucks. And then that's just repeating that quote to yourself when you find yourself in that situation. I found really helped me, because it's like, oh, my whole day doesn't suck. This one thing sucked. And if I keep dwelling on it, my whole day will suck.
The rest of the day will suck.
Because I'm going to, if I'm like feeling lonely, or I'm feeling angry, or I'm feeling sad about something, about one particular thing, if I continue to dwell on that through the rest of my day, it's going to overwhelm my whole day.
Right.
If I just think about it as like, oh, that was that moment in time, or that was that particular situation that I was in, or that was that particular person I was talking to, whatever it might be. And then you can separate yourself from that. It's like, okay, well, that was then. And then the rest of the day is mine to do with to feel how I want to feel, and to do what I want to do.
Well, on that, I mean, it's one of those things where that will almost transition over to, if you are doing something and then these emotions or these thoughts overcome you, then that would almost put like a limiting belief on you going into the future. The same way that someone else can put like a physical barrier up to stop you, you're putting those barriers in your mind, So for instance, if you're just doing a workout and you can only run, or like you're going for a run, like you can only run 3Ks, but at the 1K mark, you're like, oh my God, this is so difficult. The more you tell yourself that, you're just going to build up that barrier, and then you only end up running 2Ks.
And your brain is like, oh, it's so difficult. Oh, it's just so difficult. And then it begins to overwhelm you.
Exactly.
That's right.
So having like that tiny thought process can end up actually like stopping you, putting a wall up, kind of.
Well, it works both ways.
Yeah.
By like continually telling yourself negative things, or difficult things, or things that are, things are not going well, things suck, my life's no good, blah, blah, blah. By telling yourself that stuff, it creates more of that, because your mindset starts to look for that.
Yes.
Like everything that goes bad, your mindset, your eyes see it. You're like, oh, there's another thing that's going wrong. Oh, there's another thing that's going wrong. Whereas if you are challenging yourself and saying like, hang on, things are good. I can get through this. I can do this thing. I can achieve that thing. Sure, there are a few difficult things, but they're difficult things, not difficult life.
That's right.
And you start to encourage yourself, I guess, and push yourself forward positively in a mental sense. Then things slowly, very slowly, but things slowly become easier and easier, and things start looking out for better, because your brain starts picking up on the positive things rather than the negatives.
And you know what the perfect example of that is?
What's that?
If you buy a blue car, then you'll start to notice there's a lot of blue cars on the road.
There you go, yeah.
But if you buy a yellow car, you'll notice there's a lot of yellow cars on the road, but you won't notice that there's a lot of blue cars. But you know what didn't change was the other cars on the road were always there.
That's a good point. Yeah, but you notice it more because you're looking for it.
That's right. You're looking
subconsciously.
For that. Exactly right. And there's a part in your brain, it's called the RAS. Can't remember what it stands for, but it's reticular something system. And it's basically your brain looking for familiar things. So the more you're telling yourself the positive things or the negative things, or the fact you now own a blue car, your brain is always filtering through what you see every day, and it's only highlighting the things that are familiar. So it's going to highlight the fact that, oh, you have a lot of negative thoughts at the moment. So therefore, every time something that is little might be negative, it's going to emphasize in your brain, it's going to stand out.
And you probably won't even see the positive things.
You will not see the
even
positive
though they
things.
might be there.
Exactly right. Because it's not familiar to your brain. It's not a thing that's recently occurring in a great number. So it's all about really a spiral, isn't it? You're going to either spiral up and build, or you're going to spiral down and crash.
Well, that's the thing. It builds on itself. Yeah. And that's in your mindset. That's one of the things, is like, really just, if you're looking to turn things around, or you're looking to push things faster, or like whatever situation that you're in at the moment, whether you're in a really downward spiral, whether you're kind of neutral, or whether you're in like a really strong upward spiral, being aware of that RAS, being aware of your brain building upon itself, you can actually start to control that and say, like, if I want my life to go in this direction, I need to start thinking in that direction.
Yes. And
then my brain will sort of do some of the work for me, in a sense, to start pulling me that way.
And we spoke about that last time, in the sense of momentum. When you're doing things, you're building momentum, and then the momentum will just keep building on itself. And talk about, like, just creating a natural thing that happens, in your day, just a frequent occurrence of having dinner at 6 o'clock every night. All of a sudden, you don't have to think; it will just come naturally,
like habits.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and even your thought patterns can be habits.
Exactly
over time. Yeah, you can develop them. Definitely.
So it's one of those things. I've been listening to a lot of audio books and stuff like that, and all these ones about personal development and self-improvement, they all start off with the importance of controlling your thoughts and, focusing on positives, taking time to sit back and look at your life and highlight those positive things, because into the future, you want that to become natural. You want that to become habitual. So therefore, you're always going to be building things forward, and I mean, I've been at points in my life where you're not looking at the positive things and you're going to acknowledge the negatives more so. You can sit there and literally like think yourself into a trance. Hey, like you could just sit there and
100%.
be highlighting, this thing sucked this week and that other thing sucked that week and my car broke down the other day.
And before you know it, it just builds on itself.
Exactly,
and
yeah.
Your whole life sucks all of a sudden. Yeah, no, but that's what happens.
Yeah,
and
man.
You forget so quickly about like all the things that are going well. Maybe you've got a bunch of friends and family that give a shit about you, and you've got, some things going well for you at work or whatever, or like whatever it might be. There's some positives going on as well.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to just ignore them.
Yep.
And get trapped in all the negativity that's going on.
Yep.
And as you say, you're just thinking yourself into a trance.
Yeah, man. So I think it's one of those things where if you're learning about the importance of controlling your mind, then obviously you've got to take active steps to physically do that, because it's not habitual
For
yet.
Sure. It's definitely work. Like it's not just like, I'll just think happy thoughts and then my life will be amazing and wonderful.
Yeah.
It's not that easy. If it was, everyone would be doing it.
That's right.
It's a bit of a commitment to yourself to be like, I want my life to be better.
Yep.
I want to be happier. I want to, more positivity in my life, whatever it might be.
Yep.
Like I'm going to put the effort in to get there.
Right.
And part of that is the beginning of that is learning how to think
the right way.
Right way. Yeah. So like some of the audiobooks, I know you listen to a lot of podcasts and audiobooks.
Yeah.
And stuff, but like, is there any in particular that have helped you get there? Or?
Well, I don't know. I mean, they're all sort of the same. They all seem to be written, from the early 1900s. There's one that was written
really
way back in maybe the 1100s or something like that. But they all come from, people who are like philosophers in their day, and they're just looking at successful people around them, analyzing what they're doing and why it's working for them and why it's not working for other people. So examples of this is like the science of getting rich, Think and Grow Rich, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, The Art of War. What else is there? The Jordan Peterson one, obviously, talks about 12 Rules of Life. So it's one of those things where it doesn't matter what period of time that people lived in, they all say that you and I are the same people. We're all capable of the same things, but literally like what you tell yourself and what I tell yourself will make us 2 completely different people. And the perfect example of this is like this book where a guy invited an ex-Navy SEAL to come and live with him for 30 days and basically just physically destroyed him in exercises.
But Navy SEAL destroyed the other guy.
Yeah. So this really rich guy named Jesse Itzler in America invited an ex-Navy SEAL guy to come and live with him and basically be his personal trainer. And what he did was just shattered all of his limitations which he'd put on himself in terms of exercise. So this guy's run marathons and stuff before, but all of a sudden, he's barely sleeping and he's running like 20 miles a day. It's insane. And it was all about like, you tell yourself you're done, but really you're not even close to being done. You tell yourself this is all you're capable of, but you're really capable of so much more.
But your brain and your thoughts limiting you.
Yeah.
What you're saying? Yeah.
You're putting all these walls in yourself because it's all you know. If you've only run 5Ks in your life but you haven't done it in 10 years, well, you don't think you can do that. But if you literally go and take those steps right now,
you start giving it a crack,
you'll get there. You're capable of anything. It's called Living with a SEAL.
Okay.
And there's this other guy. The guy's name is David Goggins, and he's apparently like mentally the toughest man in the world. He runs like ultra marathons and 100 miles in 24 hours, all these sorts of things. And
absolute freak.
Yeah, you think about that, that's not even comprehensible, but he was 300 pounds, you know, about 130, 140 kilos at one stage in his life, and, you know, really overweight, eating insane amounts of donuts from 7-Elevens on his way home from work as a pest control guy. And then he just started running marathons.
I
Just
guess
like
at
that.
some point he decided, like, I don't want to keep living this way.
Yeah.
I need to change something.
Yep.
And that would have started, I'm sure, with how he thinks. And he's like, I guess the biggest turning point for somebody like him, and I guess in a smaller scale, like my turning point,
Yep.
was I just decided, like, I don't want my life to continue this way.
Yep.
It's going in this direction. I don't like that. I want it to go in a different direction.
Yep.
I didn't even know what direction I wanted it to go in.
Yep.
I just wanted to stop going in the direction
This
I
one
was going.
sucks. Let's
Yeah.
go another way.
And I'm making that decision, just having that thought and saying, like, no, this is enough
Yep.
of going this way.
Yep.
I'm going to stop doing that. I'm going to go over here.
Yep.
Just having that initial conversation with yourself is huge, man. Like, that's probably the hardest and most important step of, like, putting your life on track, in a sense. It's like just deciding, like, I don't want to keep living this way.
That's right. And what Peterson talks about that too, in terms of moving, it doesn't matter where you are. If you don't know where you want to go, but you know staying here isn't the best solution, then you need to move. You need to make a step somewhere.
Just take any step in any direction,
Yeah.
because it's different to where you are right now.
And that will decide, okay, is this better than where I was? And if the answer is yes, then you can move again. But if no, then you know you can go back and then go off in a different direction, you know. But by sitting here saying things aren't right now, that's not going to change. You know, the environment is not going to evolve. The environment will stay the same.
That's one of the things Peterson's really talked about strongly, is that nobody's going to come and solve it for you.
Yep.
The world is not going to all of a sudden change and your life is going to be good. So you have to take that responsibility for your own life onto yourself. He talks about it in a metaphoric sense of, like, carrying your own burdens.
Mm-hmm.
Like, your life is what it is. Nobody else can change that. It's up to you to be like, I'm going to do something about this right now. And you have to make that decision. Like I was saying before, you have to make a decision to say, I don't want my life to continue the way it's going. I want it to go in a different direction. And that's up to me. And it's up to only me.
Yep.
I'm the only one that can do anything about that, because it's my life.
Yeah.
I need to take responsibility for where I want it to go. And it's a fucking hard conversation to have, and it's a hard realization to have.
Yeah.
But that's, to quote the, to be a bit cheesy here, that's the raw truth. That's how it is, man. Like, but that is how it is. You have to take responsibility for your life and the direction it's going in. Nobody else is going to come along and make it better. Nobody's going to, like, come along with a magic wand and just all of a sudden the government's different and the economy's different and, like, the world's wonderful all of a sudden. Like, that's not going to happen. Your life will be your life until you make it different.
That's right.
You know, there might be some little things that change here and there and make it slightly better or slightly worse or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's up to you and only you to make your life the way that you want it to be, whatever that means. You know, and I guess what that does is it really, having that realization, really just, like, it's a fucking hard conversation to have with yourself, let's be honest, but it's so liberating as well, because you're like, as much as it's like, oh, I've got to take on all this responsibility now, it's also opportunity. It's like, oh, I have complete creative control over my own life. How fucking awesome is that?
Yeah.
I can do whatever the hell I want to do and start going in whatever direction. Like, as much as it's difficult and it's all this responsibility, it's also so much opportunity, and it just opens up. I think one of the people that you got me onto is, like, responsibility is freedom.
Yeah.
Or, like, discipline, whatever you want to call it. Like, that taking responsibility for your own life, that is freedom, because it gives you the freedom to take your life in whatever direction you want to do.
Yeah.
Freedom is not something that's bestowed upon you by governments or religion or fucking anything else. Freedom is you taking responsibility for your life, because then you can, over time, you'll realize, like, I can take this in any direction I want to.
Well,
that's ultimate freedom, isn't it?
Well, I was going to say, isn't that something that people complain about? Like, you know, living under a government that does this thing, or a government that does that thing, or following a religion that does this thing or does that thing, that, you know, controlling their people. Really, like, it's up to you to live in that society. If you're unhappy with the government in this country, you can't sit there and go, they stopped me from doing something, because you're choosing to be here. You know, if you want, like, if you want to go and do go and kill people and the government is stopping you, unfortunately, well, you can go other places where you can do that and get away with it, you know. So
I mean, it's a bit extreme.
It's very extreme.
But
Yeah.
I guess what you're saying is like you can make changes in your life
Yeah.
to pursue whatever it is you want to pursue, and it's nobody else's responsibility or fault, or it's like it's up to no one else except for you.
How good is it when you realize that in yourself? Hey,
Like I had that conversation with myself probably 2 years ago, or
Really?
close to 2 years ago now, and I'm still figuring it out. I
Mm.
haven't. It wasn't like a 5-minute conversation. I'm like, life is mine, and I can do whatever I want to do right now. Like it's not just like a epiphany that happens overnight. It's like I had the conversation, like I was talking about. I want to stop my life going in this direction. I want it to go over here,
Mm-hmm.
and then over the last 2 years, I've slowly got a clearer picture of what my life might look like, and I've started moving towards that. And then along the journey, it's changed a little bit, and my vision of what I want it to be has changed a little bit more. And you work your way through a little bit more stuff, and then you like change it again, and it's continually evolving. But it's only like recently I think I really understand what it means to have control of your own life. It's like it's taken me 2 years to like really get a grasp on that.
Well, one step that we all sort of take to realize this, obviously, when you move out of home for the first time, all of a sudden you realize, you know, the fridge doesn't magically fill itself with food, and your clothes don't magically end up washed or dried or put away, you know, the house doesn't clean itself. All of these things are bestowed upon you because you make that choice to go and live on your own.
Yeah.
You know?
And I guess one of the biggest revelations that you might have is like, you know, I don't know, like everyone's different in terms of their home life, but certainly like the way we grew up, like you ate reasonably well,
Mhm.
like as in like healthy-ish food. It wasn't just 2 ton of crap and sugar and fat and stuff. But when you move out, you're like, I have all the freedom to eat whatever the fuck I want. I'm just going to have takeaway every night. And then really quickly you realize I can't sustain that because A, it's expensive.
Yeah.
B, it's unhealthy and it makes me feel like shit and I have no energy.
Yeah.
And C, like now I'm putting on weight and like, you know, it's affecting me in all these ways. So what you might think is freedom to be like, I can eat whatever I want, you realize like that's not freedom at all, because now that's limiting you so much because you've got no money and you feel like shit and you're putting on weight and you're not feeling confident about yourself and all those things. So you might think that that's freedom initially, and then you realize like, hang on, I'm actually limiting my life in so many ways by making a choice to like go, hang on, no, I'm going to eat more cheaply and healthily.
Yeah.
That becomes like, even though that's discipline, that's responsibility, that's more freedom, because then you have more energy and more money to do whatever you want to do.
That's true.
And you have more health and you can live better.
Yeah.
So that's like that kind of weird dichotomy between what people think is freedom and what people think is responsibility. They're almost reversed, or like somehow like they're like one and the same.
Well, they work together, but also in opposites.
That's it. Yeah. It's almost contradictory, but again, it's one of those things that you don't initially understand in a 5-minute conversation. But,
so from looking back now, what are you thinking?
In terms of
just what do you think about what you know the last week or so?
The conversation we had the other day.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's right. I mean, like certainly through this conversation that I'm having right now, is like I'm like realizing like it doesn't matter that I might feel a certain way. I can feel it and be like, okay, that's the thing that I'm feeling. But at the end of the day, that's a moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel isolated and lonely every single day of my life, every minute of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt it that one particular time. And, you know, maybe a couple of times over the last few months or whatever. But it's not regular.
Not a generalization of
it's not how I feel constantly.
Yeah, okay.
Most of the time I feel great. And I'm like, life is like, I've got my life heading in the direction that I want it to head.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I can deal with that over time and work towards like being less isolated or whatever. But again, like I was saying, like the journey within myself that I'm undertaking is almost making me feel isolated.
Right.
And then, so if I want to not feel isolated, does that mean I have to stop trying to develop myself? Like on the flip side, if I wanted to make myself not be isolated, then really I should stop trying to like work on myself and be internalized.
Yep.
But that's not something I want.
No.
So that's where you start realizing like, oh, there's some decisions I have to make here. Do I want to go with the emotion of loneliness and deal with that and tend to that? Or do I want to keep working towards my goals? Like, it's like I can't have both.
Yes.
I can't have everything to be wonderful. It's like you start having to make sacrifices.
Yep.
And just be like, well, I can feel a little bit lonely if it means my life is going to be better. Or I can feel less lonely and be more social, but then not have a better life for myself in the future.
Right.
You know, you start realizing like, oh, I've got to like make some choices here.
Okay.
Some tough decisions, you know.
Okay.
And they're tough decisions, but.
So, is there anything that's happening in the next few weeks which might like get you a bit more excited?
There's a few things happening in the next few weeks,
yeah.
which is making me very excited, and it will also combat my isolation because
That's
it means I'm
wonderful.
getting out of the house.
That's good.
Yeah, and I mean, you know what some of those things are, but
Well, let's talk about it.
we should talk about it definitely. On a bringing this back a scale, like undeepening the situation, I suppose. We've got some big announcements to make. We are going to be releasing a new song in the next couple of weeks.
Just put in a sentence, mate.
Put it in a sentence.
We just put in a sentence. Just makes it simple. You don't need to fuck around here like everyone's just hanging.
It's a good point. So on the 7th of November, 2019, we are releasing a brand new single with a lyric video. And that single will be off our upcoming album, which is coming out early next year.
Put it on a billboard, mate. What's it
Put it
say?
on a billboard. Fucking, are you trying to get me to say the quote?
Just
'Cause I'm
say
not gonna
something
say the
simple.
bloody
Just
quote.
like, walk to 7th of November 2019.
Make sure you check it out. The I'm not going to say the fucking line, mate. I'm not going to say it. But we've got a video coming up for you guys at the end of this live stream, so make sure you check that out. But no, we have a single coming out on the 7th of November. I'm sure you guys are going to be keen as hell for that one. We've also got some shows coming up for the rest of the year.
Are we going to announce the song?
We're not going to. No, they can wait and see at the end of the video.
Oh, you got to wait. Oh, spewing. I was king.
Oh,
Should we get that picture? Show them the picture.
Picture?
Yeah,
I showed them that the other day on Instagram.
Oh, just.
Oh yeah. Okay. Anybody who hasn't seen it on Instagram?
If you haven't seen the Instagram picture,
we've got some fantastic artwork for our new single.
this might be a hint for you.
It's looking fucking killer. It's still framed in a postage packing from we got it done from a guy overseas. But this is it. Is that on the screen? I can't see.
Yeah.
So this is our new piece of
Get
artwork.
up there, son.
We're going to be using that in the lyric video and also for some merch,
Ooh.
some stuff like that. So we've got new merch coming out with our single. And you know what you have to do when you have a single?
What's that?
You got to fucking tour it.
Got to play a bit.
You got to play some shows.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to be playing some shows in November, December. We'll be announcing some of those shortly, but there will be a Brisbane gig that will be free entry.
Yeah.
So everybody who hasn't seen us at the last few international supports can actually come and see us for free in the Valley on a Saturday night.
Convenient.
Yes, on the 23rd
23rd of November.
So we'll be dropping that announcement after the live stream as well. So we've got a single coming out, we've got new merch, and we've got some shows coming up as well. So some big news for everyone. I hope you're all just as excited as we are, because I'm fucking keen to get out there and play some gigs.
That's definitely gonna, you know.
And to show you guys a song off our album, because it sounds fucking unreal.
Oh, it sounds pretty good.
Oh, pretty good.
And it's gonna be good for your mind, isn't it? You're not gonna need to worry about no isolation or nothing.
Well, I'll be out and about, so.
It's gonna fix itself.
Well, sort of. Yeah.
So if we gonna summarize everything we've spoken about today.
Mindsets.
Yes.
Positive mindsets. I've got stuff to look forward to, that's for sure.
That's right. So, you know, this week might have been average, but looking at the general scope of things, you're trending in the right direction,
that's
aren't
what
you?
we're talking about. It's like you might be feeling down one particular day or one particular moment.
And that's okay.
But there's a whole bunch of other shit going on that's making me feel good. So.
But we got to this because we took some action and we got some shit done.
I had to make sacrifices.
You had to do something.
I had to make sacrifices and become more isolated in order to achieve some goals.
Right.
Because if I was out partying every weekend, I wouldn't be able to work on an album, would I?
Spewing.
Do you know what I mean?
That's a tough one,
I wouldn't
isn't
have
it?
a single to release if I was out partying every weekend.
Yeah.
So it's, you gotta juggle stuff, man. That's life.
Alright.
That's life. But
So what do you reckon?
well, I reckon we fucking talked a lot. Has
That's a
anybody
lot.
got some questions for us about anything? Because I mean, we've been pretty deep today about mindsets and about
everything. Yeah.
personal development and all that stuff. Like, are you guys working on anything similar? Are you guys struggling with stuff? Like, I really want to make sure that what we're talking about here is open to you guys, and certainly if you guys have any individual concerns, problems, struggles, or goals and achievements, or like, you know, victories in your own life, like hit us up. Like hit us up either on the band page or even if you just want to private message one of us, like, and have a chat about, hey, my life's doing this thing at the moment. Like, fucking bring it on. Like, I'm keen, man.
You know, in the point of isolation, celebrating is as important as, you know, shutting yourself down. So if you need to highlight something, sharing that with other people, you know, the right people,
Positive things.
yeah, who are going to support that. It's obviously important as, you know, talking to people when you're not having the highlights, you know, when you're in the low point.
For sure. Yeah. I mean,
you know,
you can be like, oh, I'm feeling down, I'm going to talk to somebody about it. But also when you're feeling great, talk to somebody about it and share that positivity as well.
And that's why
it helps everyone else.
You know, we get to do this today. We get to tell other people we're excited to do the things that we're doing.
That's it.
You know.
But just on that topic, about celebrating victories, no matter how big or small you might think they are, you have been celebrating a small victory in the last few days, haven't you?
Yeah. So anyway, we've got a few cars at home. We've got 3 cars and there's only 2 of us that live there. So maybe last year we made the decision we got to get rid of one of them. So to do that, I had to encourage my girlfriend to get her manual license. And it was pretty funny at the start where we couldn't even take off without stalling and things like that, which everyone goes there.
We've all been there.
Pretty funny.
I need to drive for the
I mean, looking back was funny, but at that time she was crying. I had no idea what the hell to say because I'm like, you just pull the clutch out, accelerate, and we're going. Yeah, but anyway.
We've all been there, as I said, yeah.
So many ups and downs. I didn't know. We didn't come to the point of breaking up, thankfully, but I reckon we might have pushed it pretty close sometimes.
Ready to stab each other and just like, stop telling me how to drive.
Yeah, I mean,
why am I even doing this?
Teaching a kid might be a bit simpler because, you know, they know that you have control. Maybe not at 16.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know, but try teaching like someone who's equal to you, and I'm not very good at teaching, so it doesn't help. Anyway,
did you learn about teaching though? Did you learn?
I learned about teaching, but she's a bad student.
That's a bad teacher. That sounds like a bad teacher.
Nah, that's a bad student problem.
There's no bad students, only bad teachers.
So anyway, she got her manual license, so that was pretty exciting. So we've been riding that.
She got that. When did she get that? Thursday.
Thursday.
She got a manual license, so that's a big up for Dow on your Dow.
On your Dow.
Good on you.
And
Shana?
Yeah, yesterday we got our album mixes back. So that was very exciting for me. So everyone's very excited around here at the moment, except this guy. But
I'm fucking excited.
Oh, now you can't stop him. But the other day, oh geez, had to get something up him, and luckily we did. So good as. Mate.
But it's okay. You're allowed to feel down.
Good as.
But as I said, bad moment, not bad life.
That's right. So life's fantastic. Get out and breathe the good air on a Sunday.
Fuck yeah, it's a lovely day.
And
well,
should we tell them what to do?
Tell them what to do.
Tell them where to go.
Don't tell them where to go. That sounds fucking...
Tell them where to put it.
I can tell you one thing. We've got a special little surprise for everyone that's tuned in today. So Wally's going to post up a link at the bottom of this. We're going to wrap this up. Thanks again for everyone for tuning in. We really appreciate it. As always, if you're not watching it live, or even if you are, we're always open to more questions and comments. We'll check them out periodically throughout the week. So keep posting things at the bottom here. Yeah, again, thanks for tuning in and having a listen and contributing. I hope you guys are keen as fuck on all the single and the video and the tour, everything else that's coming up. Yeah, and
stick around.
Thanks for watching The Raw Truth with Ando and Wallace.
Tune in next month for November's edition.
Yes, and yeah, check out this little link at the bottom.
Boom, there it is.
Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.
Have
a good week.
See you next time.
Bye.